Through smartphones, tablets, apps and laptops, technology now influences almost every aspect of our lives.
We're engaged politically, creatively, socially and emotionally 24 hours a day because of the technology revolution. Our digital lives are just as full on as our real world lives.
But the fear is that this new digital way of life that we're all exposed to is in reality powerfully and dangerously addictive.
For me, this is one of the most important issues concerning mental health. However, in our overly diagnostic world, before we rush to medically label yet another one of our behaviours, I need to be convinced, is there really something to fear? Is there something truly inherently addictive about modern technology?
Technology is so enmeshed in life that it's becoming difficult to tell what's now normal use and what's obsessive, dangerous use. I'm meeting some self-confessed heavy users, but are they addicts?
How often are you using that every day?
Pretty much all the time. I don't think I could count the number of times I check Twitter or check Facebook.
I couldn't either. I check it a lot. Even if you're bored, you don't really think about it. You just kind of go straight to it and look at what people are doing.
You know, you check it on an hourly, more than that basis, you know, when you get up before you go to bed.
We're going to see if they can quit all social media for 4 days.
Please, can you uninstall?
It starts with deleting the apps from their phones.
You're shaking. I'm going to join you in your pain. I'm going to do it too.
Do it.
Oh gosh, it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. I feel I'm going to be disconnected, and I can't spy on my kids.
It's definitely going to be difficult to give up, but there's a difference between annoyance at losing a useful and enjoyable tool and the physical and mental anguish that can come from giving up something truly addictive. Most addictions in the classic sense, such as to drugs, have a physical dimension linked to our inbuilt reward system.
So the reward system in the brain is both about pleasure and about motivation. So when we do certain behaviours like eating, drinking and sex, natural chemicals are released that both help us enjoy those behaviours but also motivate us to do them again and again and again. This scan shows the reward system in action, areas of the brain that are flooded with the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is a key element of the motivational part of the reward system. Recreational drugs stimulate a massive reward response, and the combined buzz and motivation is, for some, powerfully addictive. But this scan is actually not taken from a recreational drug user. This is taken from a gambler. So we're seeing a response in the reward system, albeit a smaller one, but nevertheless the same response, but this time for a purely behavioural activity.
It's one of the reasons why problem gambling became the first medically recognised behavioural addiction in 2013.
Now, early studies are beginning to see the same response with technology, particularly when we look at internet gaming.
Could that response lead to addictive-like behaviour? Psychotherapist Stephen Noel Hill believes it can.
The gaming industry has been quite adept in terms of what I would call reward levels and dopamine hits. You're getting it in quite big form, especially when you've just killed a platoon or you've just managed to do something within the game that gives you a major hit. And, you know, the kids are really... Of course, you know, if you've got dopamine flowing through, you'll want more of it.
Can you just give me a few examples of negative outcomes?
Quite simply, attendance at schools tends to go, and lack of socialisation, you know, real dearth of friends. Family life seems to get affected because they're not participating in they're not coming down for meals.
And when it gets really bad, what are the kids doing to resist those parental instructions?
I've had instances of, you know, knives being pulled out on parents because they've taken away their gaming device, and it's a minefield of how to parent through that.
Gaming addiction is now the focus of research to establish if it should join problem gambling as a recognised medical condition. But what about other elements of the technology revolution? Where is the addictive trigger in something like social networking? Many point to its ability to change our mood, the emotional boost and sense of self-worth we get from our peers liking, sharing and retweeting what we post. And then there's the thrill of finding out if we have received those likes and retweets, giving us that all-important reward, driving us to keep logging in and keep posting. It may be why for many of us social networking is so seductive, but at the moment there simply isn't enough research to say for certain. What's perhaps more important is why for some that heavy use becomes addictive behaviour. Mark Griffiths has been studying addiction for over 25 years.
There are people with certain biological genetic predispositions, emotional dispositions, psychological dispositions. My argument is that technology kind of enhances and stimulates that vulnerability or susceptibility. It's not to demonise the internet in and of itself, because most of us use it and most of it, it's something that actually is a positive thing in our life. And I think one of the things I want to really try and stress is that doing something a lot does not necessarily mean that it's problematic. Basically, genuine internet addiction, I would actually put it maybe 0.1%.
In my clinics, what I hear is parents who say there's nothing I can do, my kid's an addict. Now, if we put that kid in front of you, you would say that kid is nowhere near being an addict. But can you understand that there would be an urge to pathologise, to medically label a behaviour, particularly for those people, like parents, on the wrong side of the digital generational divide?
I think addiction is sometimes used as a justification for the behaviour. Parents might use the label, other people might use that label to justify or try and explain the behaviour they're doing. Every week I get emails, and without fail, from parents saying that my son or my daughter is addicted to Facebook or they're addicted to playing World of Warcraft. And when I email them back and say, why do you think that? They'll re-email back because they're playing 3 hours a day. And I have to email back and say, but that's normal. Is it affecting their education? Is it affecting their, their childhood friendships? Is it affecting the physical activity they're doing? If they're answering no to all those questions, to me that's not something that parents should see as a problem. They should just take it on board that this is what kids do nowadays.
So, how have our heavy users fared? Have they struggled to give up social media?
Cards on table, let's be honest, did you manage not to lapse or relapse?
I didn't lapse.
I didn't at all, not even for work.
I had a few urges, but never actually went on it.
Yeah, I found the first day the hardest, I think, because it was you're so used to doing it. It's actually been quite refreshing when you realise that I could probably get rid of Facebook.
It did take a little while. Now it's kind of okay, but in the mornings, I still check my phone.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do. Where's Facebook? Where's Twitter?
It doesn't sound like it's been too kind of difficult for you, really. I mean, I just have to admit something to you all. So you guys are in your early 20s, or I'm in my late 40s. I cracked.
No.
Obviously, I'm just completely beyond help. Yeah, I just missed that kind of breadth of connection and knowing what was going on, and I felt incredibly disconnected.
Even simply from my own experience, it's clear that technology can have a powerful hold on us. But by labelling it as an addiction before we really understand the processes at work, we run the risk of removing our own responsibility for how we use technology.
We're going through a massive process of change in the way that we live our lives, and this is because of this huge technological revolution. And of course there are those who are vulnerable and who may become addicted to new pleasurable behaviours, and we have a duty of care to those people. But as a species, this is about adaptation. It's about understanding our behaviour, not panicking about change, and taking personal responsibility. Responsibility as parents, responsibility as individuals, and as society as a whole.